That's my good friend Savory, the one with all the gyrating dance moves. He's someone I find intelligent, unique, and definitely interesting. He lives in the mountains of the big island of Hawaii, in a town called Oceanview. This is a story of Savory's life in Oceanview, Hawaii, and his pursuit and exploration of what it is to be human. I'm headed 15 minutes straight up the mountain to go see Savory in Ocean View. Ocean View is the largest subdivision in the United States. He lives about 4,000 feet in elevation. Ocean View is mostly off grid living. There are no street lights, and depending on what elevation you live at, it can get pretty cold. It is the most affordable place to live on the Big Island. It's also pretty eerie and scary for the people that don't live in Ocean View. Most of the native Hawaiians do not live in Ocean View. The two main cities on this island are Kona and Hilo, which are about an hour and a half and 2 hours away. I lived up here a couple of years off grid with my wife and son and left in 2020. This will be the first time that I see Savory in 3 years. Savory, this is where Savory lives.
Good morning.
Good morning. How long have you lived here, Savory?
About 18 years.
Okay. This is about 4,200 feet or no, 4,000.
Yeah, it's right around 4,000, maybe a little less.
Yeah, so this is in the slopes of the Mauna Loa up here in the Big Island, Ocean View to be exact. This is his ohia tree.
With lots of bees.
Okay,
Lots of bees pollinating.
which is good.
Yeah, they have a hive down in the cave. So this is my guest house to be, the foundation for it.
Okay, this is gonna be your guest house, your building here.
Round 16-foot domed. And yeah, hopefully I'll get on that this year. My overall health has improved. I think I can probably get to work on it. So yeah, I'm excited about that. And it's been sitting like this for about at least 2 years.
About 2 years.
And so this is a little sitting area. Note the Spanish moss that's really cool on the ohia tree. And yeah, I set this up for carving. I put my bench here so I could carve outdoors in the shade.
By the way, everyone, whenever you see this, this is not just regular rocks. These are lava rocks. This is a lava rock tube, right?
Yep.
So this was
Channel.
this was a one time a flow that came through here, I guess This first flow, second flow, we don't know. It's brown, so if it's brown,
It's about 1,500 years old.
it's about 1,500 years old.
So this is the wind generator up on top there of the roof.
Wind power. By the way, this house is another off-grid home. The last house was in Mark Twain. This one's up high in Oceanview. He uses this wind turbine to generate electricity, and he also has batteries and solar. So, as a matter of fact, when I moved to Hawaii, this gentleman was the first one to help me with my system. These stairs.
These are my handmade stairs.
All right, this is the interesting thing here, right here. Look.
Interesting thing.
He sees it every day, so he just walks by it like, yeah, it's my house.
Yeah.
Everybody else is like, wait a second, is that a boat right in front of this guy's house? What is this?
So the story of the boat is that the lesbians who bought this land were sailors.
Okay.
And they came onto the raw land and needed a place to live. So they had this boat hauled up from the dry dock, a defunct boat, and they lived in the boat while they built the cabin. This was the solution they came up with to a problem everyone has when they move to Oceanview and buy raw land. You end up living in a tent or a car or anything, you know, until you can build a structure. So they lived in the boat, and it was fully functional. It had a, you know, kitchen area and water supply and everything built into it. So it was actually very brilliant on their part.
How did they get it up here?
I'm sure they had it on a truck and towed it up and lifted it over. But that's a really good question, because it's in an area that clearly there was no road, although I think a path here perhaps bulldozed. Yeah. But yeah, no, that was a real trick to get it onto those ohia posts and blocked up like that. And how they did that without a crane, I don't know.
By the way, this is South Point down there. It's kind of foggy a little bit, but that's where the ocean is. When it's clear, you can see the ocean. We're way up here, but South Point is the most southern part of the United States, right down there. South Point, Hawaii.
You want to go over and look over the cave?
Let's
here?
go. Go ahead, take us to the cave. So where we're going right now, when the first time I seen it was a big deal. It's still a big deal. But this is, what do you call this, a cave? What do you call this?
It's a lava tube.
A lava tube.
So watch your feet on these spiky plants.
All right, so you're about to see a lava tube that is very big, and it's in his backyard. All right, here we go. This is crazy. This is really big. This is
the cave part is off to the right.
Cave part is right to the, off to the right down there.
You see it from that angle, but you can infer it. The other end of the cave is up there.
Yes. So.
And we're going to be climbing down this face in front of us.
Now the sun is.
Getting the camera in. But yeah, there's the cave entrance down.
I don't know if you guys can see that. That's the cave entrance. And we've been down there. I've been down there many years ago. And this is Savory's safe haven.
Well, make sure you get my little door thing.
Yes.
That's.
Who is the dreamer of the one who is awake? What does that mean?
I can't tell you. That's a koan you have to ponder.
How long have you been doing sculpting? Like, because it looks like you're good.
Seriously.
Since I was young. So when I first came to Hawaii, I did this when I first came to Hawaii. And I was like 30 years old, 30 to 35, and I carved it and I sent it to my parents, and then I was able to get it back from them before they passed.
Oh, wow.
And I have other art in here that I did that kind of a similar thing, like that painting of the old man with the book.
And you said this one took a month, right?
Yeah,
About
a month and a
the-
half. Let's see, what else have I done? I did this. It's not finished yet. I probably should work on it.
When you say it's not finished, have you been working on it for years, or?
Yeah, I was working on this at Margot's.
Okay.
This lady is like looking out to sea. It's Koa, looking out to sea, waiting for someone to return. And so yeah, it's a beautiful piece of wood. It's really curly Koa.
So it's pure koa.
Yeah, you know that's so the rippling you can see here.
Yeah.
In the light, that's the wood. That's
Yeah, you
not
can
carving.
see.
That's
Yeah.
that's just the grain of the wood. And so I thought it would be so perfect to make that her hair, you know.
Yeah.
And then I did that lady. Yeah.
You did? That's wood also?
Yeah, that's a
So what'd you finish that with? Mineral oil also?
that is,
That is so
it's
interesting.
probably Koa. I'm not sure what wood that is. It's got a very heavy duty varnish on it, or a
I see.
polyurethane, because
Okay.
these little roses here with the tubes, water is supposed to squirt out of these, and the water connects at the bottom, and so this was a fountain, and that's why it has that high gloss,
Gotcha.
you know, polyurethane on it, so it could be over.
It gives it a really
a
nice
bowl.
look though. A different look.
And you know, she's got the moon face
Yeah.
and the beehive hair.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, these are all ancient goddess imageries.
I'm
The
still
claw
like,
feet, you
wow.
know, they're all, because I was really into that, you know, Sumerian goddess stuff and whatnot. You know, like thought it was very, very amazing.
I see you have a snake up there. There's no snakes in Hawaii.
He has the first one.
That's the snake. It's just a symbol.
Oh. That is too cool.
Yeah.
That is kind of cool. Now that you have it on.
Yeah, no, this is
That
my,
is pretty
and I had,
cool.
you know, dull colored clothing and stuff, but
And what is it? What
this is a
animal is
coyote
that?
skin.
A coyote, okay.
Yeah, because, you know, that's my, it's my trickster,
Okay.
you know, the trickster spirit. That's very Native American, you know, association, but yeah, the coyote with the turquoise eyes
It's
and the,
definitely
you
creative.
know, the arrowhead nose.
Right.
Yeah, you know, it's too cool. Naturally, you know, because I'm not a confronter. You know, I'm not a Marine. You know, I'm not like trying to like be right.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. You know, being right is not that important to me.
Yeah.
You know, finding common ground is much more important than being right. You know, once we have common ground, then we.
Savory talked to us about his relationship with his mother and how it progressed to his perceived weirdness. So I asked him, what did he mean by weirdness?
I am aware that I meet many, many people and I gauge their response to my presentation that they don't know me, you know. And it is clearly shocking to many
A lot of people, yeah.
And so I would say that is a weirdness, you know, that they perceive it as weirdness and they have to figure out what to do with it. And, you know, it is to some extent gauged to try to you know, I am certainly on one level trying to manipulate. I'm certainly trying to get people to think even if it just gets them to think, that's a huge step, because generally speaking, you cannot make people think. But if you can actually make people think,
Right.
even if you can't make them think about something in particular, you've
Right.
already done pretty good.
That's true. Doesn't have to be about something important either.
So people, think, and because I'm not really offering easy answers, it's just like they can't just say, okay, he's gay, or he's this, or he's that. There's no easy answer. They have to keep thinking.
Yeah.
And in the
They have to try to
process,
figure it out.
they are looking into themselves, and they are looking within to find parts that relate to what they're seeing.
Right.
And so that's what I believe is the real functional mirroring of interaction between people, that we are mirrors for one another. And what we see in another person is ultimately part of ourselves.
Yeah.
And we may want to distance ourselves from that. Maybe it's unconscious shit, stuff that, that's bad. I'm not bad.
Yeah.
There's always that sort of, possibility. Things are outside the culture.
Mm-hmm.
But there's an essential mirroring going on, where we look within ourselves to find what can we recognize in what we're seeing, in order to make sense out of it. And that's at least a fair substitute for thinking.
Somebody would have to be open-minded to
And experienced. They would
yeah.
have to be open-minded and have broad experience
to recognize
to
that
be able to see,
right.
oh, I saw somebody like that back in Chicago or whatever,
Yeah.
But if they don't have that,
Then they're gonna say,
then
that's
they're
not
like,
me.
what is
I'm
that?
not
It's
like
not
that.
me. I'm not like that. Is it like my sister, or is it, something I saw on TV, blah, blah, blah. So they go through this whole process of trying to evaluate, but in that process, they are looking at parts of themselves, and it's better than if they just had an easy answer that they could then, oh yeah, that's it. I don't have to think about it anymore, So,
Right.
It's a service in that sense. It's also manipulative. It's also.
Do you think you would continue to dress and do what you do if you didn't get what you're saying, that how people receive you? Like, let's just say nobody even cared.
Right.
Would you still dress and act the way you
Yeah,
do?
it would. That would be the normalization of my behavior. It would be then normal behavior. If there was no response whatsoever, people just treat me like
So
anybody
Yeah.
else,
You would
then
just
I'm
be
normal.
Right, but what I'm saying
okay
is,
with that.
that's what I was asking. You are okay with that?
I'm okay with that, and in
because
a way,
this is really who he is.
that's
Because I think he's getting
success.
a joy, and he's mentally stimulated by what he's doing by triggering people with the way.
But that's not why he does it. He just happens to be.
That's icing on the cake or something?
Yeah, he just happens. This is what I think. That's what I'm saying. You could correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm going to say yes and no. Because I've been doing this since I was like 35, and I'm 68.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like this is who you
30
are.
years of transitioning from being secretive and afraid of what people think,
Right.
to needing to confront that in order to to overcome the adrenaline addiction. That's the source. That's the reason to start the process, to get over the addiction to the adrenaline and the fear of what people think. And that applies to lots and lots of folks if they ever want to dive into that. There's a lot of people that live in some sort of fear of what other people think, and my breakthrough was realizing that I was addicted to the adrenaline of the fear of wondering what other people thought. And that was not good. That was really not good. That was standing between me and the rest of the human population. And it was an addictive thing.
Yeah.
And so to try to overcome that was to say, okay, let's just let it all hang out and face it, to where over time, less and less adrenaline would shoot into my veins, worrying about what people thought. And I became more and more comfortable just doing whatever I felt like. Other people became more and more comfortable watching me do it. And so there is that other aspect of it. If you're afraid of what people think and you walk around in the world with that kind of energy, it actually causes people to react to you.
Right.
They feel it.
Yeah.
There's something wrong with that guy,
Yeah.
Let's get on our defense because he's defensive.
Right.
You see it in their eyes, There's like,
you kind of manifest it, right?
Yeah. So that's some serious stuff that applies to lots and lots of folks that have been experienced cultural repression, racism, all kinds of things, where people are genuinely afraid of what other people think.
Right.
But they can't act casually, and it just is this self-reinforcing thing between people. So to take the stand and just go like, fuck it, I'm tired of being afraid. I don't want to be addicted to adrenaline, so I'm going to do what I want to do. If you don't like it, go ahead, bring it on. And once you take that step and get open about it, so it's like I had to give up my wife over this issue. And so I was up basically on the street and going like up to the next girl and going like, okay, we're having a date. First thing on the table, I'm a cross-dresser. If you can deal with that, great. If you can't deal with that, we'll save you a lot of trouble. Let's move on. And surprisingly, how many women were supportive of me. And they loved the honesty of that and the openness of that. And so that helped tremendously.
Yeah,
and
of course.
I'm
sure.
And then I finally met somebody that was like, yeah, I had this thing for my teacher in high school. I always thought he was, a cross-dresser. And I was just fascinated. I couldn't even focus on the subject because the teacher, there's something weird about it, And so she had this fetish about this teacher in high school. And so when she met me, she was like, yeah, I have a fetish about cross-dressers.
You were like, yes, this is wonderful.
I'm like, really? This is crazy, but okay. So, I ended up spending 13 years with her.
Nice.
And did all kinds of
That was
things.
Margot?
Margot, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's the one that aided and abetted me coming out and just being more open and dealing with the people that were having a problem with it and helping them to relax. And so, 10 years of that, and everybody in LA who had gotten on board, and some people in Oceanview, and then we split up.
Margot was instrumental in who Savory is today. So Savory ends up taking me to her home that he helped build. They ran a nonprofit together. It was a health food store, and it also had different amenities for the community and for international travelers in the 90s. It was called Margot's Corner.
What's interesting, and I can't get over it, is that
the fence
the irony of the lawnmower being overtaken by the grass.
Right. Good point.
You know what I mean? That's designed to cut grass, but the grass won.
Yes. Very good. I like it. Oh, there's Walter. You met Walter. Here, take a close-up of this rock here. It's not the Walter you met, but that rock is named Walter because when I found it that same day I met a black man named Walter who had one eye.
Oh, and then you found this rock that same day?
Yeah, before I met him.
Before you met him, the one-eyed black guy, you found this rock that looks
Yeah.
like a one-eyed black man.
Wrote a poem about it.
Wrote a poem about it.
Okay. We can't go in
Margot's Corner.
and bother the tenants, but
Yeah.
But that's the last part of the structure that I built was I cut out the ground underneath the house and poured a floor and built a 3-room suite under there. And it's the adobe suite because the walls are all finished with stucco and hand formed like adobe bricks.
Okay.
And I have photos, but I don't want to intrude on whoever's there.
Did you paint this house?
Yeah, many times.
Many times.
Currently, his oldest son Travis lives here with his girlfriend. Savory wanted to show me his artwork that was inside the house. Savory lived in this home with Margot for 13 years, from 1990 to 2003, and occasionally came back to visit because they remained friends. I didn't get a chance to meet Margot.
Travis, are you around?
Margot passed away in 2017.
It looks like little records.
Yeah.
Like, well, these look like records. These. How long did it take you how do you do that on a roof?
Yeah.
Is that a lot of work?
Yeah. It's top of the ladder. Standing on the top of the ladder.
Like, those look like perfect circles.
Yeah.
And you did this 30 years ago or more. Probably more.
Hey, Travis. I let myself in.
With somebody else. Let them know somebody else is here.
How's it? Nice day.
This is Travis.
Travis is my friend Roderick.
How you doing, Travis?
Good, how are you? That's the great book series up there. It never budged. No one hardly ever used those.
I used some of them to
Did
help
you?
hold up the couch there because it's been broken on end. So.
Good. I'm glad somebody used them. You know, because I thought they were the coolest thing. You know, I went to St. John's College when I was in Santa Fe to hang.
I ended my visit with Savory by going back to his house and checking out his garden, and eventually saying goodbye.
Fragrant roses that I got from Walmart, and there's at least one example up here.
Yeah.
One that's always happening. Yeah, look at that beauty. That is really quite nice. So I take these down to the Coffee Grinds cafe just to share with everybody. But yeah, we have kohlrabi, great kind of a broccoli flavored vegetable, carrots.
Oh, it's a big carrot.
Yeah, see about
Oh.
yeah, there's nothing like growing your own food.
Yeah.
You want healthy food, grow it. Don't go to the supermarket. But that's interesting, huh?
Yeah, no, that's definitely true. You wouldn't be able to live up here like sustainably without the store, right? Or do you-
That's in my current scenario, no. That's
Yeah.
why I need that girlfriend, man. I need someone to help out, do some of the gardening.
Right,
With
right.
a bigger garden, you know, and you know, to maintain the infrastructure. Yeah, sure. You know, it's possible.
Yeah.
But not by myself at the level of energy I have currently.
Yeah.
This is chard. Chard grows really well up here. As a green, it's
It looks
probably
like
one of the
rhubarb.
healthier greens that you can grow without the slugs getting into it, and you know, this is something you would steam.
Yeah.
But yeah, chard rather than lettuce. I have difficulty with kale because the white flies get into it. I had a bunch of peas here. Peas grow really well. And
So what's going here next?
well,
It's an empty
good
space.
question. Probably squash.
Okay.
Cucumbers. Cucumbers grow really well up here.
Okay.
So cucumbers would be a good spot for down at this end. I did try to grow some lettuce in that middle section,
Yeah.
and the slugs just totally went for it and ruined it. So, you know, we have a problem with slugs in that they transmit rat lung disease.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I never eat raw vegetables.
Okay.
Or, you know, something like lettuce. No, I won't eat lettuce.
Yeah.
Because there's too much of it's been contaminated by slugs.
Gotcha.
And it was really evident to me that it was just riddled with them. I was shocked. I didn't think there were that many slugs around here. What else we got? We got blueberries.
Yeah, blueberries. Where are those
across the driveway. Yeah, there they are.
So you planted these blueberries.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And they are delicious. So there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I could eat them right now.
6, 7 plants. Yeah. Yeah, you can eat them. Just like.
Let me see something here. Blueberries. I don't think I've ever known anyone that has grown blueberries.
So this, at 4,000 feet elevation, you can grow temperate crops.
You could grow what?
Temperate rather than tropical.
Is this temperate?
Yeah, vegetables like in the United States, more of the northern United States. So, whereas mostly in Hawaii, people are growing tropical plants,
Right.
and fruits and stuff. It would be very hard for me to grow mangoes and oranges and stuff like that up here at this elevation. It's a different climate.
So do you pick those blueberries and put them in your house in the fridge and stuff like that?
You know, mostly I gather them in a bowl and then eat the whole bowl.
Yeah.
Or make a pie.
Okay.
You know. Yeah.
So now you're very deep. You probably lost some people with what you're talking about, which some people will be lost, some people will get it. However, let's just say the simple-minded people like myself, let's just say I was identifying you, I would probably tell my friend, oh yeah, Savory, he's my friend, he dresses like a woman, but he's not gay. Would you be offended if I described you as that to my friends?
No, I'm not going to be offended by anything, but you know, is it accurate? You know, I guess I would probably describe it a little differently.
Yeah.
Because for me, it's not a question of gayness or not gayness,
Sure.
or a maleness or not maleness, or femaleness or not femaleness.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, what is the human potential?
Yeah.
You know, what can any human experience in terms of endocrine emotions, imagination, their physical abilities? You know, if you narrow it down to like, well, only women can bear children, you know, then yes, you've got me. Only women can bear children, but they
Right.
can't do it alone, and men do participate, and even though it's not overt that the child comes out of the man, it clearly does, and the physical and DNA aspects of the child clearly are shared by their father. So it's a little superficial to just say, oh, that's my child, you know,
Right.
if the mom would have think that because it came out of her body.
Sure.
It shows her limitations of identity as her body,
Sure.
you know, and I don't think that that's really true.
All right. Another question is, you live here alone most of the time you've been here?
Yeah.
So do you prefer to live alone? Do you want to live with somebody else? I know you have. I know you would.
I'd rather live alone than be tortured by a companion, you know.
Right.
It really depends on the person, you
Right.
know. So, my experience in companionship with women is been generally, if not always, a 24/7 type of relationship where we become very enmeshed both in work and play and life. And so I never did that 9 to 5 workday routine with anybody I lived with. So, in as much as that's what I clearly prefer by example and what I've done, it really takes the right sort of person to be able to live with me 24/7, and they have to be very what's the word, copacetic. And so it's not really a general question of anybody, would I live with anybody for the rest
Right.
of my life. It would have to be just the right person, and in which case I find it delightful to live with other people.
Do you think that they exist? That person that would fit perfectly with what you need?
Absolutely. I mean, there's 8 billion of us. There's bound to be the right person out there. Whether I will actually meet them or not, that's one of the mysteries of life.
Right.
You know, how you connect with someone who is copacetic. So, partly that's a result of wanting it,
right.
intending it. We'll see.
We'll see. Maybe this video might help you find the person you're looking for, and you're just resonating with them right now.
Oh,
and
absolutely. Come on,
yearning
babe.
for
Come
you.
on, babe. You can do it. Get yourself out of that chair and pick up that phone. 808-640-0311.
Oh, you got the
Bring
number.
it on. Dialing for dollars or whatever. So, the other day we talked about destiny, fate, and all of that, and I just right off the bat said, like, no, I don't believe in destiny. And then Ruth was like, calling me out, and she's like, Savory, that thing you said the other day about, predicting or prophesying that something would happen,
Yeah.
that seems to be a contradiction.
Yeah.
And she's right. And I made the distinction after that that I believe, this is an absolutely, conscious choice of that word, believe. I believe that any human has the ability to ask a question of the universe and get an answer. And then they can choose to rely on that answer or not. So, what Ruth was referring to that I didn't go into detail about was regarding, I asked the question, when would I die? And I got an answer. And so I chose that I would accept that answer as the truth, because I'm in the habit of accepting answers from the universe as the truth that I act upon. And you can't just take the ones you like. You have to take them all or not.
Yeah.
And so that's very different than believing in destiny. It's, for me, not a question of whether the universe is this objective reality that exists and we are bobbing around in it. For me, the universe is the totality of human awareness that I am able to access and my dialogue with it. And so how I dialogue and whether I take the expressions of the universe as reliable or not, that's on me,
Right.
So,
Okay.
it's not ultimately objectively so. We'll find out when I die.
Right. Well, Savory, We appreciate you showing me your home, letting us into your heart, your mind, your soul, your art. And, you know, I feel like people need to know someone like you because you're very unique to me and probably to others. And maybe that's why people, for many years in Oceanview, don't approach you. Eventually they do, sometimes they don't. But they know who you are.
Mm-hmm.
So, but you let me into your
Yeah.
private, personal space.
It's been really good to know you, Roderick. You know, there's it's an opening of my heart into a whole part of humanity that I would say, oblivious to. You know, the racial component and the city component is something that I'm very much less aware of. You know, because of my own experience limited to country living and being around white folks. You know,
Yeah.
so. The exploration of what it is to be human has to include all the other folks that are different than you. You know, how else could you possibly know what it is to be human if you can't just say, oh, you know, I'm human, if you don't know the fullness of the possibilities of being human. You know, you could only conclude that I'm, you know, partial human.
Yeah.
That's all I can really say about that.
Well,
Thank you so
Savory.
much, Roderick.
Okay, thank you, Savory. We love you.
Love you too.
All right, we're out.
Do you remember a minute ago when Savory asked the universe when he would die? Well, he shared with me that the universe told him within 5 years. At that point, he'll be close to 73 years old. And if this is true, this could be the last time with my good friend Savory.